Okay, I wanted to ask you about the time one of the homies got shot, and you went up to the hospital to check on him, and it just turned into a whole nother thing.
Right, right.
Who was the homie that got shot at that time?
I believe Taco got shot, homie. You know, G Taco from my hood got shot. And back then, we didn't have a lot of firearms and shit. So I remember the homie LSD, he came to my spot and he wanted to grab my firearm. But I'm like, nah, homie, these motherfuckers is hard to get right now. I'ma go with my firearm. So I remember leaving the house, I'm kicking it with mine, we smoking herb, watching scary movies and shit. So I remember leaving the pad from mom's them, going up there. So when we get to the hospital, one time all in the parking lot, so the homie, I think I'm with the homie KK I mentioned from Blackstone, and he was like, damn homie, let's leave the strap here because there's so many police out here, they might get to harassing us, bumping us. So, and I leave the heat. So in the process of me leaving the heat, I go up to the hospital and go in there, check on the homies. And so the Crips is up in there. Once the police start filtering out, it's Crips up there, you know, Tapo, them, with different few other 60s. And they talking about, we ain't got to go nowhere. The enemies is up here. So once I hear that, I leave about the hospital. I'm like, man, I'm finna go get this thing. But instead of me going straight to the car, I bang on the nigga from 60s outside the entranceway, push on him real tough while he talking to a female. And I guess the words I said to that nigga made that nigga start barking on me, and he shot me right there on the spot.
Now, the 60s was up there because...
one of they peoples got shot.
Okay, so the homie, was it Taco you said?
Taco from my hood got shot.
He got into it with the 60s.
And the 60s say they got shot.
So they took everybody to the
and
same hospital?
we all meet at the same hospital.
That's kind of crazy.
That was crazy. we all meet up at the same hospital and kick it back off up at that motherfucker.
Okay, so you walking out the door of the hospital. This is Daniel Freeman, which is now a bunch of apartment buildings.
Now it's a bunch of apartment buildings now, yeah.
But you walking out Daniel Freeman hospital doors,
right,
and the 60 standing right there.
60 standing right there at the door.
And he busts on you right there.
Yeah, I turn around, I look at him. He got the two ponytails hanging long, G'd up. And I look at him, and I say, man, what that Neighborhood Pirus like? Blood? And that nigga just looked at me, and I dissed him. You know, F whoopty whoop. And the nigga eyes got big, and next thing you know, I just watched the nigga. I couldn't run. I just watched him go up under his shirt, come out with a cannon, and serve a motherfucker.
He didn't say nothing?
He just bust. After I dissed and talked all that crazy shit, I said enough. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was, man.
Now, it sounds like that happened at close range.
It was close range, man. You know, shit, from probably about here, 4 feet away. 4 feet away, man.
And he hit you in the hip?
Hit me in the hip. Yep, hit me in the hip, man.
So that's like a real close one, man.
Yeah, that was a real close. I didn't really realize how close it was till my auntie was cleaning my wounds, and she started crying and was like, man, this shit could have killed you. And that's when that shit really made me take all that shit in, man.
So the hospital didn't clean your wounds since you were right there?
I mean, you know, when I came home to get them cleaned up, but right then and there, you know, that hospital was new. They didn't even have no security booth. I mean, it wasn't new, but it was new to the drama because they didn't even have no security office. The security used to work the front door. So basically, when I got bust on, they just shut the whole hospital down until the police came there before they even pulled me to the back of that spot.
That's crazy that probably even back then, they didn't have a lot of cameras.
No, it wasn't none of that. All this stuff was new. Everything was off visual. You know these cameras kind of help save people in a way, and you know, and not prosecute people in the wrong way, because back then a motherfucker be scared, startled, and they'll make a description of anybody that looked like anybody back then. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta say, man, back then, because I remember kind of looking dude broke. And then by our hood still being so close right there on what Prairie is, you cut right back up Florence, you on Florence and Crenshaw. You know what I'm saying? So we were still able to make big moves back then, you know, after an altercation.
You gotta be one of the first dudes ever to get shot at a hospital to go visit while visiting a shooting victim.
Right. Yeah, hell yeah, I was, man. That shit was legendary in the turf, homie. All the homies was like, man, that was some G shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially when niggas found out I wasn't letting my gun go. I wanted to go up there where my cannon was at. Motherfuckers was like, that was some heroic shit for a young homie. You know what I'm saying?
So when he bust on your hip, did it incapacitate you where you couldn't run
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
car?
yeah. It dropped me right there because I was young and small. That shit dropped me right there. And the homies thought I got smoked. My road dog LSD and them thought I got smoked. So after the busing, they ran out there and pulled me back into the hospital and shit. And I was just leaking right there. And they just stayed with me until one time came in and shit. Because they wasn't pulling me to the back. The nurses, the doctors and shit, they was scared. So they just locked the main entrance down and shit.
Well, I was going to blame the police for that happening because you don't take two different hoods to the same hospital.
Right.
But it's still early in the history of this shit.
Right.
They was still probably learning this shit.
Right. Because once that did happen, they wind up transporting me and the homie Taco out the back door into ambulance and transferred us to a whole different hospital facility. Because they figured it was two shootings with two different gangs up here. Now let's split them up once the police came.
So how did Taco end up doing after he got shot?
He wound up healing up, but when I first went back there, he had heard the busing. And so when I go to the back of the hospital, I'm in pain. I'm like, oh shit, oh, I'm hollering and shit back there. And the homie know my voice. So Taco get gone one. Oh, blood, what happened? Blood, you got shot? I'm like, yeah, blood, they bust on me. So he going on one in the background, like, blood, I need to get out of here. Blood, it's on and cracking and wooty whoop. Man, fuck that, you straight. And I'm like back there going crazy and shit, you know what I'm saying? And from there, that's when they hooked us up together and transported us up out of there.
So you and Taco at that time must have tripped that both y'all got shot on the same day.
Right. We like, damn, this shit crazy, homie.
Did y'all develop a special bond because of that?
We did, because our moms, they had to take, we was going to therapy and all that shit together. And my mom didn't have no car at that time. So Taco mama used to let me and my mama get in the car with them, and we had to go to therapy together and all that shit. So that made us even bond more, and it helped our moms then bond more by his mom being a Salvadorian and my mom black. They was able to get they bonded on with both of them having some hard-headed sons out here.
But if I remember correctly, your mom warned you before you walked out the
Exactly.
spot. What did she tell you?
She was like, damn, you running after them. I think it was my mom's birthday or something, man. She was like, you running after them like they all that. And I wound up getting bust on, could have lost my life from disobeying what moms wanted me to do, kicking and blow weed and hang with her, man. I could have got killed that night.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Those close ones, man. Get your adrenaline pumping, and you think it's your time to go. The butterflies start fluttering in your stomach.
Right.
But hey, he had bad aim.
Yeah. He didn't have it right, or he wasn't trying to just down me like that, man. Either way, I want to say thank you.
Or it could have been he wasn't really trying to kill you.
Right.
It could be both of them.
Yeah.
He might be like, I just want to get this dude off.
Right. It could have been that.
Yeah. But anytime you start busting a pistol, anybody can end up getting it.
For real.